Today I am sharing with you my greatest marketing invention. I call it duck marketing, but you should change the D with an F. If you're just starting in business, you need cash as fast as possible. And marketing, you only convert 1 to 3% of your audience into customers if you're lucky. Yet to build an audience, you have to invest either a lot of money or a lot of time. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, I'm just gonna upload 10 shorts a day or 10 Instagram reels or TikToks. I'm just gonna upload a lot. Now, what you might not know is that the more you upload, the more they decrease your reach for every individual video. You can try to make your videos as good as possible, but you have to keep in mind that everybody is doing that. And as soon as everybody starts doing a strategy, it loses its effectiveness. Only the people who come in the beginning and experience amazing growth and start talking about it on YouTube using a certain strategy, only these people win, and the rest, it doesn't work for them anymore because suddenly everybody is doing it. And that's what happens with every marketing strategy except the one that I'm about to give you right now. Why do I love this method? Number one, you need sales in the beginning, and the traditional marketing approach will only give you 1 to 3% conversion rate. That means only 1% or to 3% of people who watch your videos or interact with your content will buy from you, while this method will ensure that at least 30% of these people buy from you. 30% conversion rate. You need that in the beginning. You cannot survive without it. Number two, because it's not easy to do, not a lot of people are going to do it. Not a lot of people are willing to do this kind of work. And for that reason, this marketing strategy will always work. Three, it gives you a huge advantage over other marketers who do not use this strategy because it gives you an algorithmic boost. Now, this method has 6 C's and a few principles. Now, what are the principles? Number one, serve before you sell. For people to trust you, you need to deliver value consistently. And in this method, we're going to learn how to do that on a large scale, so we don't have to spend 3 hours with every single person just to win their trust. Number two, sales over reach. Lots of people are concerned with large numbers, and it's in our nature because we feel that strength is in numbers. But it's not. The strength is how many sales you can get from your audience. And finally, sales is much more effective than marketing, especially in the beginning of a business. But for this strategy to work, if you're selling an app and it's almost free and you're making just a few cents from every single user, this marketing strategy isn't going to work. But if you make, let's say, $100 or $150 or $300 from every single customer, that makes this worth it, because you can stay profitable with sales. And this marketing strategy teaches you how to put sales on steroids and to turn it into a marketing strategy that actually works and that produces money from the beginning using your sales skills. Now, it has 6 C's. C1, curriculum. What do you want to teach, or what message do you want to spread to this world? First, I believe before you decide who your audience is, you have to know who you are. So deciding from the beginning, what exactly am I going to teach? What do I want to be? Who do I want to be? I start by writing a lot and adjusting until I find exactly who feels like me. And from that, I can determine who the best audience is for this kind of content. Because sometimes you try to go after the most lucrative audience, but you don't have a lot of content for that audience, or your message doesn't connect with that audience. So I believe it is always best to start with the curriculum, deciding on paper or on a word processor what exactly do I want to teach? What are the lessons that I want to share with these people? Or what is my message? If you're an artist, it's your message. The second C is content. You need to start making short form content and long form content. The great thing about making short form content is that it teaches you how to capture people's attention and how to edit the video so that it is as engaging as possible, and that's very important so that your long form content does great. But the idea of building an entire channel based on reach, it's not something that you can control. And here we are obsessed with control. How can we control our results? results. So learn to make shorts, learn to make your content as engaging as possible, but don't count on the algorithm. We're going to learn how to force the algorithm to do what we want it to do, instead of counting on it and wishing and praying for rain. It feels to me like most marketers do their SEO and everything, and then they do a rain dance, waiting for the algorithm to bless them. And it just doesn't work that way. Sometimes it does in the beginning of a new strategy, but as soon as everybody starts doing that strategy, there's more competition and poof, the views are gone. So curriculum, content. The third one is community, and this is the heart of the strategy. You have to use your sales skills and to make content of real value, and to use your sales skills to connect with people who are in communities, and eventually to build your own community. You have to provide real value to every single community you visit. You have to be an engaged member. You have to help others, and you have to have a good intention, otherwise people will be able to tell. And most people tell you to go to communities and to try to close people on buying from you. And I believe that is a horrible strategy. Because if you want to sell more, you have to realize that 98% of customers buy after being introduced to a brand for 3 months. It takes time for new people to trust you. And to earn trust, which is the most important thing in business, you need to deliver value consistently over time. So the best strategy to do is to find people and to provide real value for them. Now, in the beginning, before I figured out this strategy, I used to find people and teach them stuff for free, give them lots of pointers, but I noticed 2 problems with that method. Number 1, there was a limit to the time that I could spend with a person before they trusted me and bought from me, and that time was 3 hours, a horrible time if you're trying to build and grow a business. And I started asking myself, how can I serve the biggest amount of people with the highest amount of value? And that's when I figured out that with content like this, I can just give you a link, and it would only cost me a few seconds to give you this link after I introduce myself and we connect, and I ask you questions to connect with you and to know your interest, and we become very good friends. And then I send you this link, and from this link you start to have real value from me. And then you enter my community, and you'll find that in this community there's a ritual. Every community, just like every religion, there's a ritual. A ritual is something that people do together, and when people do something together, it brings them closer and it makes them more consistent. It makes the connection stronger. So what is a ritual? It is either something that people would like to do but aren't really doing, wish to do, and they believe that in a community they're more encouraged to do it. So it might be losing weight, or meditating, or listening to soft music while drinking coffee and meditating. I don't know. It's a community. You're doing a ritual together, and then you sit down maybe and you share your thoughts about, and you share personal things about your life, and this brings everybody closer, and it makes you feel like this is a family. It's not just a few people on the internet. It creates trust, and it actually improves people's lives. You see, we are lonely. We have pain in our life. And when there's a ritual that can bring us together and makes us feel connected, we need that. We have human needs, and it's not just shelter and food and water. We have other needs. We have social needs, and a community can provide that. We need communities. We used to rely on religion for community, but for most people, that is not an option anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And that's why communities work. So you have to design a community that provides real value to these people, truly serves them. And when you have that, you have an advantage in the algorithm, because now 100 people care about you. Now 100 people watch your video. 100 people get together every week on a live chat with you and talk and do an activity together and grow together. And it's incredible because they give you an incredible boost when they share your content, like your content, comment on your content. They give you an incredible boost from the algorithm simply because they care. You know, most marketing strategies tells you that you only need 1,000 true fans to succeed in marketing or in business. But Nobody tells you how to gain these 1,000 true fans. And I am telling you, it is through community. So instead of going to groups and trying to sell people on becoming your customers, sell them on joining your community. You need to be a very good salesperson. And this way you can build a community, and of course you can build incentives for them to invite other people to the community, including raising their status. But in the end, you have a place that is worth being in, a community of real people who care about your business. You know, Seth Godin says that if you want to be successful in business, you have to ask yourself, will people miss me if I was gone? And when you build a community of people that care about you, yes, they miss you if you were gone. Now from this, I built my first business, and it literally saved my life, because this is how I made money. I made a promise to myself that I will never get a job in my entire life, and I still have connections with these people today. But what's the next step? Let's say you did this, now you have a community, now you have people who care about you, and now you create opportunities for them and give them a paid training or a paid product, and you have already given them so much that the law of reciprocity makes them feel that they owe you something and they want to give something back. And so when you put a product for sale, they buy it. When you give a training and they trust you and they know it has real value, of course they buy it. Of course you need, if you want 30% of them to buy, you need to be very good at sales, and that's what I teach. Now, why is community such a powerful marketing method? Is there any evidence that it actually works? Okay, Amazon, Facebook, Google, all of these companies grew with words of mouth. If you think about a company like Pinterest, all of us know what Pinterest is. Pinterest started as a bunch of guys who created a website and started giving it to people. Just like that. They built a community, and then they started connecting with people in the craft communities. They started going to every community and gathering members, giving them brochures and telling them about the app. And that's how they did it. They didn't do advertising. They didn't spend money on advertising. They used already established communities. But let's think of a company that already used existing communities and then built its own community. Which one grew faster, Amazon or Facebook? Obviously Facebook. But why is that? They connected to a very small community, Harvard. And then they grew from one community to another. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful ways of marketing. And when you have a community, you put word of mouth on steroids. You encourage people to invite other people, especially if there's a ritual. If I had a great experience and I tell my friends about it, but if it's a recurring experience, I invite my friends to it, and then the community grows. Communities are word of mouth, which is the most powerful technique that the biggest companies right now in the world are using. And using a community is putting it on steroids. It's allowing it to grow at a much accelerated rate. But let's say you went through this step and now you want to grow further. You have the community, you made 300 people in your community. It's very tight, it's very close. How do you grow further than that? How do you reach millions? Collaborations. Collaborations is one of the most powerful techniques in marketing, but the idea here is you can collaborate with people who will have 3 times or even 10 times the audience that you have. How is that possible? Well, we know for a fact that if you pay these people money, they are willing to collaborate with you. But what is money? Money is potential value, potential energy, potential time. But that's the idea. If you want somebody to collaborate with you, money isn't the only option. You can create a collaboration by offering other kinds of value. You're nice to them, you're treating them wonderfully, and then you can sell them on something. You can sell them on giving them a free training. I've done this multiple times. I give a person a free training and I help them incredibly with their marketing and with their sales. I actually help them, and I do that for free for 2 hours. And it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and by the end of that, we have a strong connections. They already trust me, they already love me. And then I ask them, is it possible if we do a collaborations? This would mean a lot to me. And even if they hesitate for a bit, I am a salesman. I know how to close them. I know how to make them feel good about it. And I don't even need to do looping. Some people told me that they have refused every single collaboration, but they accepted collaborations with me for that single reason. Why does this work? Because you're offering them something before you ask for anything. And if you're doing this with a decent human being, this is a law of reciprocity. they feel indebted to you and they want to repay you. And they already like you, they already love working with you, so why not? Let's do a collaboration. Yeah, let's do this. Great. And when you do collaborations, as you know, you get a huge percentage of their audience for free. So this is how you do collaborations without needing to spend money. You simply offer another kind of value. And if you think about another kind of value that I haven't thought about, please do tell me. What can we offer in value for people to want to collaborate with us? Commercials and funnels. The idea behind this is very simple. Lots of people have done it. You basically create advertising that pays for itself. Now, I'm not sure if this method will always work, but right now it is working. You create a very attractive offer, you put advertising money into it, and in the offer, when people go, the initial price is very low, and then you do something called upselling. McDonald's would not have been in business if it wasn't for upselling, because every time you buy a burger, they tell you if you want fries and if you want a soft drink with that, and most people buy these things, and that's when they make the bulk of their money. That's how they stay in business, by upselling. So you present an irresistible product, a deal that when everybody sees, they're like, I need to get this. The idea is very simple. You need to increase the amount of money you make on every individual sale. If the price is too high and it's a single product, most people are not going to buy it, and it's not going to be a great offer. But when you bring in an incredible offer and then you bump that offer, if it's a book, you offer the audiobook. If it's a physical product, you offer the option to buy more of this product at a huge discount. And so people buy more, and then you present them another product that is compatible, very similar, that they need, and yet another product that they also need. So you increase the amount of sales per transaction, the amount of money you make per transaction. And when you do this right, it enables you to keep going, because you create a positive funnel. You start with every single transaction, you're making more money than you're losing with advertising, because most of the people who are against you do not have funnels. Most of the people who are against you have a single product and they make a decent amount of sales. And as you know, the money for advertising goes up the more people spend on advertising. So with this method, you can compete on advertising and spend a lot of money. And if you have a positive funnel, even if it's slightly positive, even if you only make and profit a single dollar from each sale, this method allows you to keep going, to keep spending money on marketing more and more. So it's like infinite marketing. You grab them with an incredible offer, you offer them something else and something else and something else, and that increases the amount of people who buy these things, and it increases the average transaction value. So commercials and funnels are wonderful. They enable you to grow. But let's say you have already done this and you reached the level of having 500,000 followers. How do you go to the next step? Number 6, connections and stunts. How does a company like Tesla do their marketing? I mean, if you think about it, they don't really spend money on marketing. Same with Apple. They don't have to spend money on advertising, not anymore. And that is because they have connections with journalists. And when they release something, they create stories. Stories that are already written for their journalists so that it's easy to share. You make lots of connections with journalists, and then you do, from time to time, stunts. Things that already go viral, things that are wonderful for journalists to spread because it gets them views. And one of the most famous people for doing that is Richard Branson. He always does stunts. And of course we cannot forget Elon Musk, which lives by stunts and by the shock factor. Almost everybody in the world knows who he is. How is that? He's just the CEO because he uses stunts, he uses shock. Yes, some people hate him, but think about the amount of people that bought stock from him, the amount of people that discovered him, simply because he shocks people with stunts. And whether you like him or hate him, Donald Trump also uses shock and stunts to gain a massive following, sometimes saying something that is controversial. So these are the 6 C's of duck marketing. The reason I call it duck marketing is because I do not like relying on algorithms. I do not like things that I cannot control. I just shared with you years of research of my life. Why? Because right now you trust me. And guess what? I do not teach marketing. I am a sales trainer. I teach people how to sell, and I just gave you an incredible strategy. But the only thing you need for this strategy to work is the ability to sell, because you will have to convince people to be in your community. You will have to convince journalists to work with you. You will have to convince people to collaborate with you. And when you're very depressed, you will have to convince yourself that you are on the right path. Sales is the most wonderful skill in the entire world. It enables you to negotiate with people. It enables you to offer value and to make them feel how much value you're offering. And most importantly, when you learn how to sell, you never have to lower your prices, because you learn how to loop and you learn how to show value. They talk about price, you talk about value. I'm a sales trainer. I am proud of being a salesman, and I'm telling you, you can be a great salesperson even if you think that you cannot. Because there was a day when I thought that I cannot, and I looked at salespeople with amazement, like they were superhuman or something. But it's a skill. It is simply a skill that you can learn and master. And if you're interested, I don't need to tell you that I'm the best. So just tell me, let's study sales. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you realize how powerful this is. I just gave you my life's work, my secret to success in marketing. Even though I do not have large numbers in marketing, I have large numbers in sales. And it's all thanks to this method, that I don't have to wait for years until I build an audience and then try to close them. I just hope you realize how powerful this is, and thank you so much for listening to me.